This past weekend was Valentine's Day, and with Valentine's Day, the movie Wuthering Heights came out. Now, I didn't know what to expect with this movie. I had no clue. I've never read the book. All I've seen was a couple commercials of Jacob Elordi groping on Margot Robbie. My wife was going crazy for it, so I took her to go see it. Off of the first 5 minutes of the movie, I could tell that it was not going to be a normal romance story. And they really set the tone by hanging a man on the first scene, and then him having an erection from getting hung, to which an entire crowd of people all screamed in amazement and excitement and then started partying too. So that set the tone for this entire movie. It's not like a normal romance story. And in the ads, it said the most iconic romance novel of all time, and I wouldn't really call this a romance story rather than a tragedy, with pretty much every character just being like a bad guy. It was a beautiful film, had crazy set designs, insanely nice costumes. It's loosely based off of Emily Bronte's novel, which was written in 1847, and what I've been hearing, what I've been told by a lot of people who have read the novel, is that this movie is nothing like the original book and is essentially a complete reimagining from the mind of the director, Emerald Fennel. So if you're going into the movie thinking, oh, I'm going to go see a direct retelling of this story that I like a lot on the big screen, throw that in the trash, because that's not the experience you're going to have. Completely different story. A lot of people have been complaining about that, but me having not read the book, that's not a huge deal for me because I don't know really what to expect. So I went into this movie with fresh eyes. And we meet Catherine Earnshaw, who is the daughter of a really rich landowner. And she's like a little kid in this scene, and she's watching the hanging, and she goes super crazy about it and gets really excited about the hanging. She comes home. We're introduced to her abusive father. He's an alcoholic, gambling addict. He goes out to the market one day and buys a little servant boy and brings him home. He feels bad for him and tells his daughter, like, hey, here, you can treat him like your pet. He doesn't have a name. And that kind of sets another tone for the whole movie. Like, the concept of the film is supposed to be this tragic romance story, but it really came across as like two people who just have insanely territorial, like a concept of ownership in their brains for each other. Like they're each other's property. Heathcliff acts like he's Catherine's dog the entire film and is completely obsessed with her. So these two grow up, they fall in love with each other, they never actually get together, and then the really super wealthy Linton family moves in next door, and they have this like giant estate that they build up. And in contrast, so Wuthering Heights is the estate that Catherine and Heathcliff and their family live in. And in contrast, Wuthering Heights is shown as like this decrepit, dying, diseased, run-down home. And then the Linton estate is just like this beautiful Alice in Wonderland style crib. Like they have like in their fireplace, it's like 100 plaster hands that like hold the fireplace together. And they have these like super beautiful hallways that are coated like blood red. And they have like rooms dedicated to just like ribbons, or a room dedicated to Isabella Linton's dresses or dolls, or like they have so much money, and it's almost like it's like two completely different planets. So Catherine and Heathcliff, they grow up, and Catherine ends up agreeing to marry Edgar Linton to get a better life. She quickly realizes, I shouldn't have done that. I'm in love with Heathcliff. Why did I marry this guy? But right after she agrees to marry Linton, Heathcliff gets pissed off, and he just runs away, and he's gone for like a few years. So we don't know what happens to Heathcliff. Catherine is now married to Edgar Linton, carrying his baby. They're living their own life. She's up right now. Her finances are right, and she got away from her abusive dad, which is a super big plus for her. So for all intents and purposes, she's living a great life. Edgar is actually a super nice guy the entire film, and arguably, in my opinion, like the only actual good character in the whole movie. And he like is purely a victim in this entire story. So he's taking care of his wife and trying to give her the best life that he can. And meanwhile, Catherine is just not really having it because she's still in love with Heathcliff. And the movie really gets up and gets started when Heathcliff returns. He's no longer poor. And they don't go into it at all. He's just rich now. Like, he comes back and Catherine is asks him like, "Hey, so like tell us your stories. What have you been up to for the past however many years?" And he just doesn't answer it. So they don't even go into it. He's just magically rich and has purchased Wuthering Heights, the Emerald family house, and is now their neighbor. And the rest of the film is him taking his vengeance out on Catherine to get back at her for abandoning him. And he tortures the Linton family. So he's having sex with Catherine like all over their estate, under Edgar's nose. He takes Edgar's sister and convinces her to marry him, and then treats her like an absolute animal, like literally ties her, like puts a collar on her and treats her like she's a dog and dehumanizes her and forces her to write letters to Catherine talking about all these experiences to try and get back at Catherine even more. So I don't understand. A lot of people said they cried during this movie, and they say it's like so sad, but I didn't feel bad for Catherine or Heathcliff at all. I did not feel bad for them at all. They were actually super evil, both of them. Catherine was a gaslighter. She was like constantly putting other people down around her. She put Isabella down and was trying to treat her like she was less than because she was jealous of Isabella for liking Heathcliff. Nellie, who was another one of the children that Catherine's dad adopted, that grew up with Catherine. Catherine treated her bad like earlier in life. And Nellie was Catherine's biggest op this entire film, which maybe not undeserved for Catherine because Catherine also sucked really bad. When Catherine at the end is like, "Hey, I'm," kind of makes it known she's dying. And then Nellie is just like, I don't believe you. You're lying. Like, you're always lying, and I don't really care what you have to say, and just kind of puts it off. Like, she just is trying to run Catherine's life. So Nellie's evil. Catherine is like the most non-girl girl I've ever heard of in any form of media in my entire life. So she's a hater. Heathcliff, dude, is just I've never the first scene where we see Heathcliff meeting Edgar, so meeting the Linton family with Catherine. Catherine's trying to introduce him as like her best friend from childhood and whatnot. And he's literally sitting at this dude's table, sitting at Edgar's table, smoking a pipe, plotting on how he's about to be banging Catherine and just ruining this man's life. Like, it's like he's on the most devious timing this whole film. Yeah, I didn't really like any of the characters except for Edgar at the end. Like, found them likable. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but they push it as a tragic love story, and I really just saw it as two, and forgive me here, but like pathetic, evil people who were just so infatuated with each other and then wrapped up in themselves and selfish. They just destroy everybody else's lives around them. So, spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, Catherine dies. So the whole film, Heathcliff has been having sex with Catherine behind Edgar's back and talking about how he would kill Edgar if Catherine told him to so they could be together. And he was victimizing Edgar's sister this whole film as well. Completely evil. Shows up at the house at the Linton estate because he finds out that Catherine's dying. And Edgar just forgives him, kind of. Like, he's just like, "Hey, dude, you don't want to go in there. Like, you don't want to see her like this." And it's like Edgar has compassion for Heathcliff. Heathcliff was a demon. This whole movie, that just confused me. So people were not very happy about the ending. If you're in the mood to just see like an incredibly horny tragedy about two extremely obsessed people who do not care about anybody else other than themselves and each other in like a weird, twisted way, with a ton of just erotic content on it, then sure, that's for you. And a lot of the women, I'm assuming, in there were huge fans of it because there's a scene specifically in the movie where Heathcliff like grabs Catherine by her corset and picks her up with one arm, and like the entire movie theater, like the weather changed in there, so it like precipitation started falling. Everybody like gasped at this and was just amazed by it. And that was only one of like 50 scenes in the movie that were pretty much exactly like this. Where they're just like the main characters just acting like complete dogs for each other. So if that's for you, then it's for you. But if you were expecting to see the Wuthering Heights novel adaptation accurately on the screen. That's not what you're going to get. So go into this film not expecting that. It just expect it as a completely standalone reimagining of the story Wuthering Heights from the mind of Emerald Fennel. And then maybe you'll enjoy it. 6.5 out of 10 from me on this movie. The ending kind of fell flat, and I just didn't like anybody enough to get me invested in the movie at all. I didn't really care what happened to them. I thought they were all super bad people, and props to Edgar for being such a good guy in this film, because he's the only redeemable character, I thought, in my opinion, from the whole movie. But there's my thoughts. If you come across this video and you have differing thoughts to me, please share them. Put them in the comments. Let me know what you thought of Wuthering Heights, if you enjoyed it, if you didn't enjoy it. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one.